Radio Free Will, a podcast for sovereign people. Coming at you live and direct from Greggstown, New Jersey. I'm your host, George McCullough, and it's Anna Savoya on the controls, and with us again today is artist, activist, and philosopher Michelle Mockers. We are just about on the eve of Election Day, the midterm elections, and people really don't have too much of a choice. You either got to vote Republican or Democrat, it seems, in the U.S. Now, I know, Michelle, you have a couple of thoughts on that, so we're going to delve into the two-party system here in the United States.
Yeah, the two-party system makes that it is practically impossible to create a political party. They have the monopoly of everything, advertising, absolutely everything. And they make it in such a way that the condition, even the practical condition to create a political party are absolutely impossible. And impossible for me particularly. I am exactly in the position of what Karl Marx, I must say his name, when he started to write his philosophy. He was alone, and I am alone to start something, but I start something which for the very, very first time in the whole history of humanity, and I can say it without, saying it's me, it's not me, it lasts for 50,000 years, art. The cave people were practicing art exactly as well as anyone can practice art today. Doing that, they were applying a philosophy that even the small kid in school or whatever, when they make a drawing, they apply that philosophy. So I made a definition of that philosophy, and it is for the very first time that the positive philosophy is proposed, let's say, to the world. I'm not afraid of the big words, but to the world, to become a way of leading the world, and a positive and balanced way to lead the world.
Can art and politics coexist?
Well, politics is a big name, because the art of politics. If you look at the art of politics basically consists of, say, war is the continuation of politics. If you look at the, let's say, recorded 5,000 years of history, not before because they were not writing history, it's 5,000 years of war. So if that is the big thing of politics, forget it. Politics has so far, since the beginning of humanity, been negative, as it is still negative today. If you don't shut up, I send you my missile. That's the same thing.
It doesn't have to be negative.
It doesn't have to be, not at all, but it's always the same thing. There is no, let's talk about the United States. We have a constitution. When you look at the constitution, it's a constitution which is just nothing else than a political machine, government machine. It's the rule to create a government. When they say the welfare of the people, they have no idea of the welfare of the people. The people who write the constitution are people who still have slaves. So how can they conceive a philosophy that would be good for every man on earth? How years later, with the Industrial Revolution, they do exactly the same thing. The workers become a slave who works sometimes 14 hours. You have example of 14 hours. You have girls of 6 years old, kids of 3 years old working in factories for absolutely ridiculous salary. And the worker of the 18th century up to the 19th century, in 1913 or 16, you still have a girl who is working all day long opening oysters, 1913, in America, in Ohio or something like that. So in other words, America never had a philosophy concerning man. The only thing that they have been able to produce is a machine, a government machine. Inside of that, everybody, free enterprise, whatever it is, everybody is for himself.
Well, it does seem to me that the Constitution of the United States is designed to protect property and not people. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. It's very, very practical because it doesn't give any social rules. So it's those who are in power, they have the power of everything. And that doesn't change. And when I was quoting, Thomas More in 1516, something like that, to say exactly what you can say today. The rich are taking over and making what they want because the Constitution allows them to do what they want. Do not protect at all when they say the welfare of the people. The Constitution, not one word on how to protect the people, how to take care of the poor people. Not one word, no social word. It's a machine.
And I think it's designed so that a handful of people end up winning everything.
Yes, and if we don't change anything at all, it will be exactly the same thing in the future, except that from one century to the next century with something which is called science, which all of a sudden go fast. You had only 2 billion people, I believe, before the 20th century and 7 billion people at the end of the 7th century. So everything goes like that, but the social state of the world does not evolve. We are exactly in the same situation that we were, 3,000 years ago.
Yeah, and it seems like for me, I can't even trust science anymore because it seems like it's corrupted by money.
Yeah, but we have another problem coming in the near future. As much as if you want, for example, the Industrial Revolution has changed everything, took over. The people with the money took over because they could buy the steam engine. And the steam engine were necessary to new production, to go faster in new productions. That's over now. But we have something else coming. And it took over, in fact, we can say that it took over, the rich people took over the Industrial Revolution. You have another revolution coming in, which is the artificial intelligence and robots. And if the same thing happens, if you let the artificial intelligence and robots be in the hands of the only few people who can really afford them at the top, then you will be a slave. Maybe not on the form of the 18th century, but at least your mind, they will brainwash your mind with artificial intelligence, which will be everywhere in your life, every second of your life, which is already you are every second of your life in the hands of the whatever watch over you in the government. They know everything, where you buy, how you sleep. They know absolutely everything.
I know. I'm getting to the point where I'm just about ready to give up my smartphone and just go with just a regular phone, so they can't track me. I mean, not that I have anything to be afraid of or anything. It's just the idea of being constantly followed.
Yeah, but know where the chip is in your car and take it off.
Right.
Because you cannot travel with your car. They know exactly, second by second, if they want where you are.
Then I'll walk.
Yeah, then you walk. Yeah.
Although they probably have chips in my shoes.
Okay, but to go back to our subject there. So all of a sudden we say we have something which existed since the cavemen. The cavemen were absolutely wonderful artists. And today it's exactly the same art that they were producing 50,000 years ago. But that art has rules. It has a philosophy. I express it as a philosophy, which in fact is how you build a piece of art. And how you build a piece of art could explain how you can build a society the same way that you can build a piece of art.
Okay, so go on. Can you give us...
So that means, a piece of art is made of things which at first sight seems to be opposite. You have to inspiration. Inspiration is something that you cannot define. You don't know where it is. It's in your mind somewhere. It's something completely abstract. And then you have, on your table, you have tube of pens and brushes. And you put something completely abstract with something completely brushes. And you create a piece of art. You can do exactly the same thing with society. In fact, and it's where Marx collapsed because he said, and is still accepted, that society is made of contradictions. And it's where art says contradiction does not exist. If there exist contradictions, they are man-made. They do not exist by themselves. Sometimes they are very opposed elements, if you want, but they are more or less correlative. They need each other to exist. So instead of being negative, the negation, the Hegel philosophy, the thesis is negated by the antithesis to become a synthesis, which in this turn will be again negated to become a new thesis, and blah, 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 blah. And that's where I say, at the end of it, negation had nothing else to negate but itself. And it's where Marx was completely wrong. Now, the philosophy of the arts is the reverse. We say there is no real contradictions, even when it's sometimes very opposed, even fighting against each other, it's man-made. It does not exist by itself. You cannot find an existing logical contradiction. So this is where the dialectic of the arts say you take all the elements that compose a society, and you create a society according the same way that you create a piece of art.
Well, so you think you can come up with a part, when you talk about a party, this would be the only party in the government, or there could be multiple parties?
No, I do not, it's always the same thing. If you accept the philosophy of art, you can create everything you want, but you will create it according to that philosophy. And once more, it's for the very, very first time, and it's not because it's me, but it's the very, very first time that has been expressed with words, that dialectic of the arts. Now, it's impossible in the United States to create a party, especially a man by himself. Come on, I'm completely crazy or stupid. It's with the Republican and Democrat, you cannot. One man cannot create anything. But I don't create a party. I create a philosophical party, not a political party. So you will accept the philosophy of the arts. You will go with the philosophy of the arts. It is not said that the philosophy of the arts will not come out with a program, which would be absolutely normal for a philosophy, but we do not create a political party. And nobody can stop you in your home to make a party, have all your friends coming to enjoy themselves. So we create a party worldwide, American-wide, and after that, worldwide, where everybody will come or will join. You say, as you would join in a house to have a nice drink with your friends. So we create not a political party, a philosophical party. And there is no rule that can stop us of doing that. They can stop you if you create a political party, a political party. They cannot stop you if you create, just once more, a philosophical party.
So in practical terms, how would this work? How would you're hoping that people just adopt this philosophy, or you hope that one of the two parties in the U.S. adopt your philosophy, or?
Yes, but you see, the two parties in the U.S. have a problem.
They got lots of problems.
But they have a problem that if you want to, there have been parties beside the Republican and Democrats. I think, for example, the People's Party. Mm-hmm. The People's Party lasted 10 years and then was absorbed and disappeared inside of the Democrats. Every essay of creating a political party outside of the two main parties, if you work with them, you disappear. They swallow you. They are real octopus swallowing you. So it's no use to try to create a political party dealing with the existing party. It has to be completely outside of the existing party.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, me personally, I would love to see a more progressive world world full of peace and prosperity for everybody, but I don't think you can do it in the two-party system.
No, you cannot do it in the two-party system. You have to do it outside of the two-party system. So it's why we do not create a political party. We create, once more, a philosophical party. But the philosophical party doesn't require that you are a membership and all that and all that. You just say that we are with us. And when the time will come, I don't know exactly how to proceed. I cannot say today how to proceed. It will have to go according to the circumstances. But we are, number one, we are completely outside of the existing party. And number two, if we grow in number, we will see at a point how we can demonstrate eventually that they are not the majority. And if we were becoming the majority, we could ask the minority to get out and to get away.
Well, I don't even think they're the majority now. The biggest voting bloc in the United States is independent people that are unaffiliated with either Republicans or Democrats. So that's a lot of people that are ready for change.
I know there is a lot of people, and there is a lot of people who never vote. Don't forget that half of America doesn't vote.
Yeah, and when we talk about voting, here's what bugs me a lot. People always say, oh, you got to vote the lesser of two evils. I have never bought into that. I always I will vote for, usually it's people that bother me the least. And usually they've never come from either party. So I think we got a lot of people that we can reach out to here.
Oh, absolutely. All the people that you are talking about, and all the people who do not vote, because they say it will change nothing at all if I vote. That I have heard that so many times. Oh, it's no use to vote, it will change nothing. So if we propose something else and something very positive, and once more, it's a philosophy, basically a philosophy we say, not too many people with nothing at all, I mean not too many poor, not many too rich. The society has to be in between. Cannot allow to have few people with all the money who govern all the others.
Well, let's go through a thumbnail of some of this philosophy. Okay, so I'm gonna. Every political candidate always talks about the economy. So let's. How would this arts philosophy deal with the economy?
Well, the arts philosophy deals with the economy as you deal with the economy with a painting. Because it's one thing to create in your mind a painting, it's an economy to create physically the painting. It's exactly the same thing, my dear. So, in other words, the philosophy of the arts is, number one, it's not made for one man to govern the philosophy. It's if you want, it's a concept that needs everybody more or less to contribute. A government cannot be, as it is today, a government of one man coming with his own ideas, more or less ideas of the party, coming with his own ideas to impose his own ideas. You will, even if you are, it should not be one president, it should be a group of people directing the country. Not one president with his own ideas.
Well, they do have a cabinet.
Yeah. But it's the president, come on, the cabinet, it's nice to be in the cabinet. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm talking about a real working group that would be, once more, not one man. And they would act according to the philosophy of themselves. That's it. They go according to the philosophy. So it can be anyone. I mean, it can be replaced. There can be new people. They go according to the philosophy.
Well, sticking with the economy, how do you deal with the unequal distribution of wealth? Because I feel like the earth was made for everybody. Everybody should share in the wealth of the earth. So how does...
That is the definition of society that you are giving. Society is made of interdependent individuals. You depend from the others depend from you. No, the society that our two political parties are creating is a society of competitive people. The only rule is the rule of you can kill the competition, it's legal to kill. When it's not legal to kill in daily life. But it's legal to kill when you kill the competition, you not only kill the competition, the people who own, for example, a company, you also kill all the people who work for the company. You put them on the street. So that should not be. In fact, competition, the law of the free enterprise is the most, I don't want to say amoral, I would say immoral possible law to govern a society. Society has to cooperate. We have to cooperate, and we can use, in that respect, we can use the science to evaluate what we can take out of the earth, what could be manufactured, how it could be distributed. It can be done, except it's not done at all today, because once more, we are dealing in what is economy? Economy is the people who have the money. That's it. That's what you call economy.
Well, the economy is the value of people's work, right?
Yeah, but then if you are replaced by a robot and artificial intelligence, so you will have no value at all. You will have no value as an individual for the people who have the money. So it will be a new form and final form, if you want, of servitude. You'll be absolutely out. You will have no volunteer. You will have nothing at all.
How do you get rid of these robots?
You cannot get rid of the robots, and it's no use to get rid of the robots because they could simplify the life of people. Instead of working, you can go selling. But the problem is, once more, that cannot be in the hand of few people. Everybody must be able to make the painting. Means that there will be a limit on what you can achieve, I mean, money speaking, on what you can go, and a limit on what you should not go down so far. Even the poorest people should be able to go selling if they want to go selling.
No, I can agree with that. Or at least be able to eat, right?
At least that's the minimum.
So let's talk about other things like politicians are always talking about education.
I believe that we already spoke about education. There is no education. How can in the US there is no education? How can you pretend to be a democracy if you don't apply the very minimum rules to create a democracy? And the rule number one is to develop to the maximum the individual in such a way that he will be able to think by itself without receiving, ideas and orders from somewhere else. So for that to develop the individual, you have to offer to every individual the same possibility of culture. Doesn't mean that you will arrive at the same level. You have some people who are more intelligent than others, more enterprising than others, but you must offer to everyone the possibility, the capability of success.
And who owns this culture? Because right now culture is owned by corporations in the U.S.
Yeah. But
we don't want that.
Yeah, but
you're stuck with watching Disney movies.
There is one way to make, if you want, a general culture should be. For me, it has three. We repeat ourselves on that, but nevertheless, we should repeat ourselves at 3 points. Number point is the classical language, literature, whatever you want, history, whatever you want. The second point is to be exposed to all the arts. Eventually go into the arts yourself, but be exposed. Every kid of, 10 years old should listen to a symphonic orchestra. Practice or be exposed to all the arts, that's number 2. And number 3, to practice sports, but not the American football. To practice sports like, once more, sailing, gliding, horse riding, or what you want, because that also develops the personality. If you have to be, you know, horse riding, you have to learn a lot of things, and you have to learn yourself how to do it. And that's very good. If you are selling, hey, you have to deal with the wind, you have to know all that, you have to deal with the wave, everything. So for me, education is made of those three parts. Now, if you could have those three parts in an individual, then you have an individual able to think politics, to think higher, and to eventually vote for tell people. That's something else. The principle of vote, we have to also discuss that, how it can be done. But if you want, at the point where we are today, I am at no point, in fact, except to have expressed very, very positive words what is the dialectic of the arts. It happens once more, and I repeat myself, I'm sorry to repeat myself, that it is for the very first time the proposal of a positive philosophy as a mode of government. So how to practically expand that, and me, I am alone there, and I am not one of the richest men on the earth. You know that very well. It would be the reverse. But so how is it possible to create not a party, forget the word party, or if we use the word party, what's more, philosophical party, not political party. I should say, to make almost a joke, that the meetings of such a party should be to eat a cake all together. You know, a group here, a group there, to eat a cake all together. Like a party, if you receive a party in your home, you offer a cake and you offer drinks. That should be, if you want, the thing that you want to achieve when you meet together to discuss politics. Now, it is absolutely certain that from that philosophy, of course, there is a political program. That's automatic. We can discuss the program. We already discussed the program. We do talk about education, for example, or we talk about limitation. In fact, the big problem is to limit on top and to limit at the bottom. To have a society which is basically not equal. Equality cannot exist. Men are not equal. But give the same opportunity of achieving yourself, and beside that, limiting the top in such a way that nobody can take over, and having people who have enough to eat at the bottom.
I can agree with you about that balance, but right now the balance seems to be, the economy is always going to be in balance. But right now you have people that are just ungodly wealthy. So when you have that many people that are ungodly wealthy, it's going to force you to have lots and lots of people that aren't well off. So that balance is there. You're talking about just shrinking that.
Yeah. And you want to know how to do it? That's what you mean?
Well, we could always take the money away from the rich people.
Yeah, we can, yeah. You know, I always quote, I believe I already told that to you previously. The General de Gaulle, at the end of the war in France, the General de Gaulle had an idea, because some people during the war made a fantastic amount of money with black market and things like that, or dealing with the German or whatever. So one morning, you had to go to the bank to exchange your bills against new bills, but to a certain extent.
Yeah, I think that
idea. Above.
We spoke about that idea last week, and I find it to be totally brilliant. And you got to give de Gaulle credit for doing that.
So listen, we can do that. If we were in power, we can do it. Why not? That limits, and if you...
So that limits the rich. How did that help people at the bottom?
Oh, but that there is the whole that we should talk a little more about economy, but I don't know if we have the time today. But in fact, once more, in fact, society and space. Imagine a society beside that where the robots will do a part of what you do. So if they do a part of what you do, tomorrow morning you say, I have no more job. It's a robot who does it. How do you do that? So how will you get the money for the government to pay for the guy who does nothing? You can make you can make that the one who does not have enough have one way or another one a check at the end of the month enough to eat. You can do that, but who will pay for that? If the robots take over, take your job, so who will be taxed? Where the money will come from?
That's a good question for our current governments to talk about.
They don't want to talk about that, my dear.
No.
They want you to go in the street and have all the power. So
I mean, the conspiracy theorist in me think that they're not working on raising people up. They're working on eliminating people.
Oui, absolutely. But once more, if robots, artificial intelligence, we already took over several, they can do, they can replace you. In that artificial intelligence can replace you, can replace all the people, can replace 1 million people in a few seconds. So what will you do with the 1 million people? They'll be out of job. And you will have few artificial intelligence, we will be there to tell them what to do, what to think, what to watch too in television, because that will be the artificial intelligence we will make the movies that you will have to absorb with a little blah 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 while you absorb that movie. You will be brainwashed by artificial intelligence. So what will happen? How will that work? That you have only artificial intelligence, let's put it the whole way, and armies of robots that do the job, and you have no more job. You, the human man, have no more job. So how do we do that?
Well, there could be a positive outcome. It could be that robots take care of the daily chores that human beings do not want to do, and everybody could live great. But I don't think that's what's going to happen.
So what is going to happen?
I think we're going to end up being meat for the robots. That's what it's ultimately. But all right, so let's move on past the thing. A lot of politicians talk about the environment, global warming, climate change, however you want to define it.
My dear, you can create from several countries. That's where science has to come in, because only science can estimate what is left and how to use what is left. If you let the economy, once more, the economy take over, they will absolutely, they don't care about the planet. They will destroy the planet to produce and to sell to you. So the most important thing is to estimate what we have in front of us and how that can be distributed.
But how do you trust the scientists?
Oh, no, you do have some...
It's very easy to lie.
All
you have to do is say, I'm a scientist, listen to me.
No, number one, then you can trust nobody. If we go that way, we can trust nobody.
Well, when scientists are working in a free market system...
okay, they will have to be in our system, socialist of our system, scientist of our system, and you can, in several countries, not one country, do that. It has to be the whole world who does that.
Well, scientists, I think they have to make the truth their highest value that they reach for.
Absolutely. No, absolutely.
But I don't think that's what's happening today.
Of course not, because, come on, the government don't want you to know a certain number of things, so they say things which are completely untrue. About the oil, for example. We are pushing more and more and more and more and more oil. To which extent?
Yeah, I find it to be very hypocritical because they say that fossil fuel is causing climate change. And we're getting to the end of oil, but there seems to be a never-ending supply of it.
No, there is an ending supply of it. And some scientists, serious scientists, will tell you that we have no more than 50 years of oil, the way we do. You know, you need 4 gallons of oil for the tire of your automobile.
Yeah, but we see when they talk about it, they never ever talk about airplanes.
Airplanes are the greatest polluters in the world.
I know,
and
but they never ever talk about it.
The most expensive in gas to transport few people for. And I was one in Kennedy Airport waiting for some friends at Kennedy Airport. And there was a plane coming from England. And there was 2 French guys in that plane. And they say, why did they send us to London for that? We could have done the same thing in 10 minutes over the telephone. Exact. I do not invent the story. So if everybody does that, and the company does that, or you go to have a lunch in Miami, or in Munich, in Germany, tomorrow morning you have to have a lunch because you will meet so and so. Oh, come on! That's how the companies still work today. They send you for all over the world for nothing at all, for a lunch with so and so. So that should not exist, my dear.
I think I heard you mention before that. When people want to go over to Europe, they should just hop on a boat. I think a boat can get you there within 24 hours, maybe a little bit longer. Once you're done sitting in the airport for 3 hours and getting through customs and everything, you can get there just about as fast as on a boat.
It's a mess to go in the airport. Some airport are a total mess. But it's where I'm very serious when I say that it is not possible to make any plans for the future or to preserve the future if we don't find a group of, let's say, from different countries of serious scientists. Come on, there are not only scientists that were sold to the company so and so. There are some serious guys. It has to be made an absolute, evaluation of what we are at, what is in front of us, and what we can do with what is in front of us, and create. You don't need to change. Instead of having things that you have to change every 2 years, because like that they sell more. If your I don't know what television lasts only for two let's say it lasts for 2 years, and you have to replace it, so you make the business going on and you make the money going on the company. Yeah. So
computers are the worst. They always seem like you got to buy a new computer every 3 years, and I look at my computer and it still seems to be put together well. No keys are broken or anything like that, and all of a sudden it doesn't seem to work. I don't get it.
Computer is considered by experts as a dinosaur 1 year later. 1 year. After 1 year, there are dinosaurs.
I mean, there's a lot of effort that goes into making a computer.
So listen, we were going to say something that today you have to change everything because it doesn't last. So the number one thing would be to do things that last and are repairable. You can repair nothing today. You have to change.
I hope so. We just, Anna and I just bought a new light for our kitchen, right? And I was amazed. It says you'll never ever need to change the light bulb. So we'll see how long that lasts for.
We might have to change the whole thing.
You have to change the kitchen.
Yeah, we'll have to change the whole light.
But that's the policy today. That's the policy of the business, to make things that don't last, because like that they can sell you and the business goes. So once more, when we go back to the story of the world, it should be evaluated how much we eventually practically have in front of us and how we can use it without depleting it in a short period of time. That the generations to come, what will they have at their service? If we left them nothing, what does that mean? I have grandchildren, they are 10 years old, or 15 years old. What kind of an avenue do they have in front of them if everything goes down the drain in a few years?
Yeah, there was Native American philosophy that they want to look out for 7 generations down. So they want to make sure the planet is left in good shape for 7 generations. Here in the U.S., it seems like corporations are just trying to reach the next quarter. So they'll do whatever they can to make a profit for the next quarter. And it's very, very short-sighted.
Listen, we have something which is wonderful. We have some problem with China. Huh? But look, all the big companies...
Well, hold on. I don't think anybody here on this podcast has a problem with people in China.
No, but why? We transport everything everything you think made in China. I'm sure that if you look at my glasses here, they are made in China. Why are they made in China and not in America?
Yeah, I don't get it. How you could
No, listen.
How they can sell you something, a set of glasses for $5?
For two reasons. For two reasons. The number one reason is that in China it's armies certainly of workers for the minimum. Huh? So they can produce for $1 what you would not be able to produce for $10. And beside them, something which changed completely the thing is that transportation. The big cargoes, those big cargoes, it's very cheap to transport something. In the old time, it was very expensive. Now it's very cheap. So it was very cheap to bring from China to the United States. Very cheap. Now we have a problem because we don't manufacture here anymore. So we have a problem. And if China starts to do a little thing like that, we are going to scream. But why did they go over there? Why that island where you just need to have one room in that island and you pay no more taxes for your company? Why that exist? Why did we go to China instead of restarting the economy in the United States? Only because the big company, lazy beside that, find out that it was much more less expensive to produce in China than here. So they make more and more money manufacturing in China.
It's still mind-boggling to me that they can set up a shop in China, ship all the materials to China, ship the stuff back, everybody along the way have their hand out, and it still only costs a couple of dollars. I don't get it.
You don't get it once more?
It must be subsidized.
No. Yeah, but once more, beside that, because things that changed dramatically for transportation since the war. The war created the big, those, big ship that transport, you see that they are like a mountain on the earth. And that is very cheap. If you take one item out of that ship, your jacket or whatever it is, out of that ship, the transportation is almost for nothing. It costs almost nothing, few cents. So that transformed, the transportation did transform completely the way of seeing of, we can manufacture in China, it doesn't cost us much to bring, and if it's $1 over there, $10 here, and maybe 50 cents in the middle,
No taxes.
That's it.
Well, we live in a consumer-based society. If nobody's working here in the U.S., who's going to buy this stuff?
How does it go today then, that you buy this stuff?
Well, I'm fortunate enough to have a job with a little bit of extra income.
So when the robots will take over your job, what will you become?
I think I will become the guy who cleans the robots.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea.
So I don't know. But to be very, very practical, if we keep on with a money system, means that we have to have money coming in to pay for everything. Then who will be taxed? The people who have no job or the robots?
Probably the people who have no jobs, because you're not going to get it from the robots.
So the thing should be that the robots should pay the taxes for the people they replace.
Yeah. Well, I can agree with that, because where else is the money going to come to keep it all going?
Okay, so one robot replaced 100 people. And the owner of the robots made with his robots the profit that he would have with 100 people. So his robot does it. So his robot has to pay for 100 people.
I can agree with that.
Otherwise,
and then I can go live on a beach.
Exactly. Come
nice.
on, exactly. You can go back to school if you want to, I don't know, have in history, have the certificate in history, whatever, become, a PhD in history. You can go back for free to school. Or you can go on the beach. Or you can go not on the beach just to put your body on the sand, but to go sailing or do things like that. And there will be, by the way, if that was happening, there will be a lot of work. Because if you want to have the kids use sailing again, you have to have the boats, and you have to build the boats. And
Wouldn't robots build those boats?
Okay, Even if but the robots cannot do everything. They cannot be on the boat, and you have to have a captain. If you have 10 people on the boat, who knows exactly what to do. You have to learn that and to outride that and to direct the boat and take care of the whole team. That's a complete change of way of seeing society. The robots do the job. We cannot stop that. That's the progress. That's the future. That's science. That's not even science fiction. It's already here. That science fiction. So we have to deal with that science fiction. And you believe that our political people are talking about that?
No, I think they got their heads buried in the sand because they don't see change coming. And I believe change is coming.
And besides that, they will have a profit from it. So, hey.
Yeah, and the politicians better be careful because we'll have robots being the politicians.
Okay, so it's why we must have our new society. We will put a new vision of the world. If the world goes in exactly as it goes in today, forget it. It's over. It's done. We have destroyed. Man has been a fantastic success over the animals. He has been able to destroy himself. What the animal didn't do. But man did. Man did destroy humanity by stupidity, by I don't know, aggression, stupidity, completely stupidity, imbecility, and imbecility of all our politicians. That's it for today. We said enough, I believe.
No, we have a few more minutes. So, while we have a few more minutes, I want to make sure that we get people to send their comments in to us, right?
Yeah.
Please comment on what Michel has spoken about today. Please subscribe to this podcast, because we want people to be notified when we post a new episode.
We want people to say that they are with us.
We want people to say that they're with us.
Because if we want to change something, we have to have a lot of people with us.
And I certainly want to thank everybody for listening today. People can comment just on the on YouTube and Vimeo and stuff like that.
And we give addresses.
And I want to thank our audience of one, Ann Gazzard, for being here today. Anna Savoya was on the controls. Our guest today has been Michel Mockers, artist, activist, and philosopher. And I was your host, George McCullough. Join us again next week for Radio Free Will.